Hey everyone, I want to welcome you back to the channel where today's video we are going to be discussing the 800-pound gorilla that's probably on your back, and that's your debt. I know it's a conversation that some of you may feel uncomfortable with, but just so you know, you're not alone. 8 out of 10 Americans currently have almost or at least $38,000 in unsecured debt. Unsecured debt are things like your credit cards, your medical bills, things like that. Secured debt, or what they call good debt, are things like your mortgage payments and your car payment, because if you don't pay your car payment, they can repossess that car, sell it off, and then put that money towards what you owed on the car payment itself to get their money back. And with a mortgage, if you're late on your mortgage or you don't pay it, they can foreclose on your house and sell the house to then put that money towards the loan that you took out. So don't feel that you're in this situation that you cannot get out of. There is a way to get out of it, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. So the first step that you're going to be taking in your debt-free journey is the same thing that people who go to rehab for drugs and alcohol go through. Their first step is being honest with themselves and with their surrounding family. You need to do the same. Admit that you have a problem, whether it's I'm bad at managing money, or I have a spending problem, or worse yet, I just don't care about my credit cards and I just keep swiping them. Admit that you have a problem so we know what you need to fix. And I have seen it when I've talked to other couples that they have actually had hidden credit cards from their spouse, or even worse yet, they told them they canceled that store card for Kohl's or whatever the case may be, and they never did. Also, I've seen separate bank accounts where one spouse has a certain amount of money coming out of their paycheck and it's getting moved over to this hidden bank account that their other spouse doesn't even know about. So if you're doing that, you need to stop that right now, because all of that money that's going towards those hidden cards and hidden bank accounts should be going towards your debt instead. The second thing that you need to do is you need to start tracking and limiting your spending. Now, there's different ways you can track your spending for the month. You can use a Google Sheet, which you can access for free, or you can create a spreadsheet, which I'll give you LibreOffice. I'll put the link down below in the description, which is just like Microsoft Excel. You're just not paying for it. The other way you can do it is old-fashioned and just do pen and paper or pencil and paper and keep track of what it is. There's also free apps online that you can download, like Mint, and another one is called EveryDollar. So those would be right there on your phone, and you can just go through and categorize everything, all of your spending. And when you're limiting your spending, start looking at things like the streaming services. How much are you paying a month for a Hulu, a Netflix, the Paramount Plus, the Disney Plus, and all these other streaming services that they want us to pay for month after month? The other big thing is you want to start looking at how much money you are spending eating out each and every week, because the average household spends around $3,500 a year in dining out, which comes out. So the third step, once you have all of your spending for the month, we need to make a budget. We need to figure out how much money does it take to pay your mortgage or your rent, your power bill, your water bill, gas for your car payment itself if you have one, and even things like your cell phone, your internet bill, and your groceries. Notice how I said groceries and not eating out. I want you guys to start preparing a meal for each day of the week. This way, let's just say every Friday, you'll go to the grocery store and you'll get the food that you need to carry you through the next 7 days. So it's basically like making a menu for you and your family. Sit down with the kids if you have them, sit down with the husband and say, hey, honey, what do you want to eat Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday? And just start, make sure you switch it up. But this way, you're able to go to the grocery store and know ahead of time what it is you need to buy so you can make those meals and not go out to eat all the time. The next important thing, or step number 4, is going to be before you pay anything, you need to set up an emergency fund for yourself and your family, or your family if you have children. I know the magic number is always like $1,000, but honestly, I would feel more comfortable in today's world and the economy that we're in, if you had $1,500 and you can just start taking out, we'll figure out, you can take out little bits here and there to make up your emergency fund, because you never know when you might blow a tire and there's $100, or if your child needs to go to the doctor's, or you have another unexpected expense come up. You want to have an emergency fund that's going to cover that, so you're not falling back on your credit cards, especially if you have high. Now, it's okay to pay the monthly minimum if that's all you can afford to do. And if you cannot get your balances transferred to a 0% interest credit card, then you may have to start paying the minimums just to stay afloat. But with the two methods I'm about to describe, in paying down your debt, you've got two options for our next step. And that is, you can use what's called the debt snowball, which is the method I prefer, or you can use, they call it the debt avalanche, which basically the difference between the two is the avalanche method wants you to take your highest interest, let's just say it's a Visa at 27% interest, pay that debt down first, and then go to the next highest interest card. I don't like to do that because trying to get out of debt is a big mental mind block for a lot of people. It's almost, since we are in a society of instant gratification, when they don't see the results happening, they tend to quit. Gym memberships, perfect example. January 1st or the beginning of January, everybody signs up to go to the gym. Come May of that same year, 80% of the people that had their gym membership quit. It's their mental toughness or their mindset. They didn't see the instant results. They didn't lose all that weight that they wanted to lose. They didn't gain all that muscle, so they quit. And it's the same thing when someone's trying to get out of debt. It's extremely difficult. If it was easy, we wouldn't have so many people in America in debt. So you can pick I would go with the debt snowball, because you're going to tackle the lowest payment or the lowest balance you have. This way, it's like, hey, I just paid off my $600 credit card. You're going to feel good about yourself, and you're going to take that momentum and keep moving forward in this debt-free journey that you're going through. So make sure you pick one or the other. Like I said, I would go with the debt snowball personally. So once you tackle the lowest payment first, let's just say you're making $50 a month payment on credit card number one, and you're making the minimum of $25 on your other 3 credit cards. You're going to make, once the first credit card is paid off, you're now going to take the $50 and the $25, combine them together, which will give you $75, and make that $75 payment towards your second credit card or the second highest balance you have. And you're just going to keep doing that and keep rolling the money over into the next account until it's paid off. Hence the snowball reference. So once your debt snowball starts rolling and you're building up higher and higher monthly payments to apply towards your debts, you want to get down to the only thing left to pay off would be the house. So if you've got multiple cars, you want to make sure that you're doing your debt snowball towards those monthly car payments. And I'm willing to bet what's going to end up happening is you're eventually going to end up making double payments, maybe triple, depending on how big your snowball has gotten towards your car payments, which is going to pay them off years ahead of time. Now, once your vehicles are paid off in full and you no longer have debt on your back, you want to start putting money away for living expenses for the next 3 to 6 months at most. This way, if you ever lose your job or lose your business, you've got that cushion to live off of until you can replace your income. I mean, how many people were ready for the pandemic? I'm sure you weren't, as was a lot of people in America. But if you have that 3 to 6 months set aside for your living expenses, keep in mind these living expenses now are going to be much lower than what it was in the past because you've eliminated all of your debt. And that was the whole goal of this process that you're going through, is to get yourself out of debt and get in that mindset of, hey, I can do anything. Now, it may sound like a big task for some of you. Oh, 3 to 6 months, I can't do that. You can do this, and you're going to do this, and I'm going to help you get through this. Because if you know that you've got those 3 to 6 months of living expenses, you shouldn't have any stress in the world, unless, of course, it's a health issue, which is a different video for another time. But let's go ahead and start planning on that 3 to 6 months living expenses in a separate account. I personally use Ally Bank, and I'll put the link down below. No, there's no affiliate links. I don't make money off of this. And you can have I have separate accounts, for my emergency fund and my 3 to 6 months of living expenses. I personally go for 6 months. The more you have, the better the cushion, and you'll feel a lot safer and a lot more secure with your financial situation. Now, I know I mentioned Ally Bank, and the reason why I choose Ally Bank over my regular bank is my regular bank, they have nowhere near the amount of interest being paid out. Ally Bank is an online only bank, so they don't have buildings to pay for, they don't have employees to pay for. So they, as of this video, they are giving out 1.25% APR on all the money you keep in that savings account, which is a lot higher than your normal bank. So keep that in mind when you're choosing. And you don't have to use Ally. Just Google high interest savings accounts and go with whomever you like. You can read the reviews. You can, if you want to go with a higher interest rate or the higher APR, great. At least this way, as your money sits in this savings account, it's going to slowly earn you money over time. And it's better, it's not going to keep up with inflation, unfortunately, but it's better than sitting in your regular bank's savings account of 0.0 whatever percent it is. I know my bank, at the time of this video, Wells Fargo was paying out less than 0.1%, which is a complete waste of time. But yeah, let's get that 3 to 6 months built up for you. And then the next step is going to be start investing. I'm going to say at least 10% of your household income into your retirement account. And if you have a 401k set up through your employer, you want to match that fully as much as you can, because if they're going to match you dollar for dollar, the more you put in, the more they're going to give you. And it's like giving yourself a pay raise at the end of the day for doing nothing but going to work every day and investing in that 401k account. So if you can maximize your contributions, and if you don't have a 401k, ask your boss or ask your supervisor or go to the HR department and see if that option is even available. And if it's not, you at least want to start looking into maybe setting up your own. And I would advise getting a financial planner to do this, because I'm no financial planner whatsoever. I'm just a guy on the internet trying to help you out. But you can set up a separate IRA account with companies. I know I have mine set up through Vanguard, which, like I said, don't have to use Vanguard. I just what I have mine set up through, and it's my personal preference. Now that you're contributing to your retirement account, if you have children, now would be the time to start setting aside money for their college tuition, because unfortunately the price of tuition goes up every year. If your children even want to go to college. I'm not saying that college is a necessity, but if they do, at least you'll have money set aside, even if it's a community college or a small junior college that they want to go to. At least have that money set aside, so when it does come time to it, they're not starting their life in debt by taking out, $30,000, $40,000 in student loans, which is going to balloon, upwards potentially to 6 figures over time. So once you have your college tuition set aside, if that's what you're going to do, the next step would be to pay off your mortgage. Start paying off continue to obviously contribute to your retirement accounts, but at the same time, put as much money, towards your mortgage as you can without taking away from your retirement account at all, because you don't want to have to touch that. And then lastly, once you have your house paid off, you're debt-free, start living the life that you wanted to live, and give back to your church if you go to church, or help those who are in need, that are in worse financial situation potentially than you were when you started your debt-free journey. Life is all about helping other people. So just keep that in mind. So the first step is to be honest with yourself and with your spouse. The second step is to track and limit your spending. The third step is going to be we're going to create a budget. And then the fourth step is going to be trying to save up that $1,500 emergency fund for you and your family. And then the fifth step is to start paying off your debts with either the debt snowball method or the debt avalanche. Like I said earlier, I prefer the debt snowball, and I think it's going to be the best option for you because, like I said, trying to get out of debt is such a mindset. You're wrestling with your own self, essentially. It's like, hey, this isn't going as quickly as I wanted it to. I'm just going to stop doing it. You don't want to do that because if you do, you'll never get out of debt. So I would recommend the debt snowball method so you can give yourself those wins. Like, hey, I just finally paid off my first credit card. Okay, let's go to the next credit card. And if you want, after you pay off your first debt, take yourself out to dinner or go buy yourself a drink if that's what's, or coffee. Whatever that soothing, comforting thing is that you want to do, treat yourself to something and reward yourself for getting past that first step. And then the sixth thing that you're going to want to do is start saving up 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. God forbid, like I said earlier, if you ever lose a job or whatever, the income isn't there, you've got a cushion to fall back on, so you're not going to be stressing about everything. Step number 7 is to start investing, at least 10% of your income into your retirement accounts. And if you have a 401k, max out those contributions because the money that your employer matches, if they match dollar for dollar, it's free money. It's like giving yourself a raise that you never even asked for. And then lastly, step number 8, pay off your mortgage. Once you have your mortgage paid off in full, now you can start setting aside money for that any trips that you wanted to take in your life. Doesn't matter where it is because you now have that 800-pound gorilla of debt off of your back. So go ahead, if you want to take that trip to Europe or that trip to the Grand Canyon to see the rest of the world, set aside money so you can do that. And remember, spread the wealth in your life. That is the whole purpose God put us here on earth, is to build his kingdom and to help other people. And I ask that you help other people with your wealth and with your knowledge of what you have learned over your lifetime. It's always great to teach other people how to get out of certain situations, or better yet, if you teach them, they may never get into that situation to begin with. So keep that in mind on the rest of your life's journey. And as always, if you found this information valuable to you, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified of future videos. And if there's a specific topic you want me to cover, please leave that in the comments below and maybe I'll make a video to cover what it is you're interested in. Well, until next time, I wish you guys the best of luck on your journey becoming debt-free. And remember, you can do it.